Have you ever seen a headline that made you stop and look twice? Maybe it was something so shocking that you just had to know the truth. Lately, a lot of people have been talking about a famous actress in a way that sounds almost impossible. They're calling Catherine Bell, the star we all know and love, the most indecent woman in the world. But is that really true? Or is there a much deeper story that the internet isn't telling you? Today, we're going inside the life of this 56-year-old icon to find out why people are using such a strong word to describe her. You might think you know everything about the lady from your favorite TV shows, but I promise there are secrets in her past and present that will change how you see her forever. Make sure you stay with us until the very end of this video, because the real reason behind these rumors is something no one expected, and it might just inspire you. Before we get into the gossip, we have to look at where it all started. Catherine Bell wasn't always a famous face on your screen. She was born in London, and her family was a mix of different cultures. 7, her father was from Scotland, and her mother was from Iran. This gave her a very unique look that would later make her a star, but as a child, she was just a regular girl who loved being active. She actually describes herself as a total tomboy. She didn't spend her time playing with dolls or worrying about her hair. Instead, she was out in the street on a skateboard, playing football with the boys, and pushing herself to see how fast she could go. This tough girl attitude stayed with her throughout her life, and it's one of the reasons she became so successful in roles where she had to play strong, brave women. But life wasn't always easy for her. When she was just a teenager, she moved to California, and that is where she really started to find her way. However, before she could even think about becoming an actress, she faced a massive challenge that most people don't know about. At the age of 21, Catherine was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. Think about that for a second. While most people her age were out partying and planning their futures, she was fighting for her life. She had to have surgery to remove her thyroid, which left a scar on her neck. Many actresses would try to hide a scar like that with makeup or clothes, but Catherine didn't. She once said she thought the scar was kind of cool. This tells you everything you need to know about her spirit. She doesn't hide from her past. She wears it with pride. After she beat cancer, she decided to try something completely different. She dropped out of university, where she was studying biology, and moved all the way to Japan to become a model. Imagine moving to a country where you don't speak the language just to chase a dream. It was a risky move, but it paid off. She learned how to be comfortable in front of a camera, and more importantly, she learned how to be independent. When she finally came back to Los Angeles, she was ready to take on Hollywood. But even then, she didn't become a star overnight. Her first big break was actually as a body double for a much more famous actress. She had to stand in for Isabella Rossellini in a movie called Death Becomes Her. It wasn't the lead role she wanted, but it was the foot in the door she needed. This is where our first major hook comes in. On the set of that very movie, she met the man who would become her husband. His name was Adam Beeson, and for many years, they were seen as the perfect Hollywood couple. They were together for nearly 17 years and had 2 beautiful children. To the outside world, Catherine was the perfect wife and mother. She was the face of shows like JAG, where she played a tough military lawyer. 7, everyone loved her because she seemed so normal and wholesome. But as we know, things are not always what they seem on the surface. Stay tuned, because we are about to reveal the moment everything changed for Catherine and why the world started looking at her differently. In the mid-90s, JAG made her a household name. She was Lieutenant Colonel Sarah Mackenzie, a woman who could handle anything. She was strong, smart, and beautiful. For a long time, this was her entire identity. Fans saw her as a hero. But as the show came to an end after 10 years, Catherine wanted to show a different side of herself. She moved on to a show called Army Wives, where her character was much more emotional and complicated. She played a woman who was dealing with pain and family secrets. This showed the world that she wasn't just a pretty face in a uniform. She was a serious actress who could make you cry. Then came The Good Witch. 179, this is probably the role most people recognize her for today. She played Cassie Nightingale, a kind, magical woman who lived in a small town. This show was the definition of family-friendly. It was sweet, safe, and wholesome. Because of this, fans started to think of Catherine Bell as the ultimate good girl. They saw her as a person who only did things that were perfect and pure. This is why the rumors about her being indecent were such a shock to everyone. How could the Good Witch be called anything else? To understand that, we have to look at what happened in her personal life after her long marriage came to an end in 2011. After her divorce from Adam Beeson, Catherine made some big changes. She didn't just move to a new house. She started living her life in a way that she hadn't before. She became very close with a woman named Brooke Daniels. For over a decade now, they've lived together and raised their children as one big family. In Hollywood, this isn't necessarily a scandal, but for some of her more traditional fans, it was a surprise. They weren't used to seeing their favorite Hallmark star living a life that didn't fit the traditional mold. Some people started to judge her, and this is where the negative comments began to bubble up. But wait, there is even more to the story. If you think the indecent label is just about who she lives with, you are wrong. There is something else that has the internet buzzing, and it has to do with how she looks today. As Catherine reached her 50s, people started noticing that her face was changing. In Hollywood, there is so much pressure to stay young forever. We see it all the time with famous stars. Fans began to speculate that she had undergone a lot of plastic surgery. 12, some of the comments were very mean, saying she had ruined her natural beauty. People on social media started sharing photos of her from her 20s and comparing them to how she looks now at 56. They used words like shocking and disturbing. This leads us to the heart of the indecent rumor. Why would anyone call a 56-year-old mother and successful actress indecent? It turns out that some people use that word simply because she is a woman who isn't afraid to be herself. Lately, some photos of her have gone viral. In these photos, she is shown wearing bold outfits or posing in ways that some think are too much for a woman of her age. 2, there have even been videos and articles that claim she has done revealing photo shoots that would shock her Good Witch fans. Some of these headlines are pure clickbait, designed to make you click just because they use a scandalous word like indecent. But if you actually look at her life, is she really doing anything wrong? Catherine has always been open about loving her body. Even back in her younger days, she posed for magazines like Maxim and was always proud of being fit and healthy. Now that she is 56, she hasn't stopped being proud. She does martial arts, she does yoga, and she eats very healthy. She is in better shape than many people half her age. When she wears a dress that shows off her hard work, or when she posts a photo on a beach, some people get uncomfortable. They think that once a woman hits 50, she should hide away or only wear certain things. Catherine Bell refuses to do that. She believes that beauty doesn't have an expiration date. So, why do these headlines still exist? It's simple, because they work. People love to click on something that sounds like a secret or a scandal. They want to believe that the Good Witch has a dark side. But the truth is much more inspiring. Catherine Bell at 56 is a woman who has survived cancer, survived the pressures of Hollywood, and found a way to be happy on her own terms. She shows us that you don't have to follow the rules of what society thinks a woman of a certain age should look like or act like. 5, she is living her truth, and if that makes some people call her indecent, then maybe we need to rethink what that word actually means. Thank you so much for watching this deep dive into the life of Catherine Bell. We hope this cleared up some of the confusion and showed you the real woman behind those shocking headlines. It's always important to look past the clickbait and find the human story underneath. Catherine is a reminder that we should all be brave enough to be ourselves, no matter what anyone else says. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more stories about your favorite stars, don't forget to keep exploring our content. There are so many more truths waiting to be uncovered. Until next time, stay curious and keep looking for the real story.